Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Citizens of Lorcana podcast, a podcast where we invite you to be a part of their world. We're your host, Jared, James, and today we are rejoined by Adara. Today we're talking about, all the Set 2 news, the leaks, the spoilers. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to another week. Last week we talked about how to build the perfect deck, even if you don't have all the cards. And this week we are joined by Adara because we have big news. Big news with Set 2 images that have been leaking and releasing. But before we get all that, Adara, it's time for a check-in. How have you been? How's your TCG journey been?
Oh man, it's been super duper fun. So I think the last time I checked in with you guys was probably before Gen Con. So
yeah, it was.
Went through the craziness that was Gen Con that's already been talked about to death. And then since then, the leagues started up. I'm in a couple of local Lorcana leagues. Thankfully, we have multiple game stores running those. So I'm getting to meet a lot of new people, run into a couple of people from the Discord server, actually.
Nice.
And that's just been super fun to actually get a chance to talk about Lorcana in person with people, teach people how to do stuff. One of the local game stores actually realized that I've been following the game for long enough that they've started to ask me for rules questions when they come up. So starting to get a little bit into the judge type journey as well there, but it's just been a blast.
From newbie to judge, huh?
I hope it's an aspiration. You know, we saw tournament rules kind of get talked about, hoping that someday we'll get an official judge program that people can join in.
No, I told that to James in the last podcast, how funny it was to be sitting there playing with people, having them play a card and be like, this one does X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been following this for a while.
Yeah, I know what that does.
But how's your league play been? Have you enjoyed it? Have you hated it? What's that been like for you?
I've really enjoyed it. So the league play that I typically participate in is more along the lines of the casual play. So most people around me are playing starter decks or slightly modified starter decks. They haven't been able to get their hands on a lot of major product. And so it's mostly been, I'm playing a starter deck that I've modified with 3 booster packs is most of the decks that are getting played around me. So I tend to run starter decks a lot, which I really like. I've grown to love, especially the Amber Amethyst starter deck. I love running it against people and playing it and learning how it works. But then it's pretty much just been the casual play for me. My husband has been more involved there was a sealed league event that went on for 4 weeks that is finishing up this week. So he got additional packs each week in order to construct the sealed deck that he was doing as part of his league play. So that was pretty interesting. I just have learned that sealed and draft is not particularly my cup of tea when it comes to TCGs. I like being able to study my deck beforehand, figure out how to pilot it, test it. And that's more along the lines of what I'm doing there. So I've really enjoyed the league play. I've been pleasantly surprised with it and the people that participate at it. There's only a couple of really crazy competitive people. Most of the time, it's just people who are looking to have a fun time together.
I have a question. How closely are the 2 places you're playing sticking to the Ravensburger way of doing league?
So I have not read in detail through the way that Ravensburger suggested league was done. I know that there is one of the places that they consult their sheet of paper and their booklet every single time league comes up and there's any question. So I would guess that they stick pretty closely to what Ravensburger is suggesting for league. And the other places lean into it in various aspects. I can't remember if it was officially Ravensburger's suggestion to do additional points for other accomplishments. But I have one game store who if you wear a piece of Disney clothing, you get a point for that. If you do a trade with somebody, you get a point for that. So I have one place that's a lot more giving with points. And then there's another one that is much more along the lines of just you play a match, you get a point. Whether you win or lose that, you just get that straight point. You get a point if you teach somebody it, and that's pretty much how you earn points at that place. So I'd say they're mostly sticking to what it sounds like is the official released stuff for it, with some variations in like how they're assigning points out to people.
Interesting. So the three places I've played, one of them is using the league with the paper up on the wall, putting the stickers on it and everything, but they're not following the league pricing structure that was recommended. So I think they're giving away less stuff, in my opinion, than what the league thing says, because I think they're only giving away like every week they were giving away 2 promo cards, and I think that was about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I think they were supposed to be giving away a lot more, because if there's 24 of each, that's you should be able to give away like 3 or 4 every week at least. And then the pins they didn't give away until just last night at the month long, and the other 2 are not doing like league points at all. They're doing pricing like based on the weekly performance and raffles, or whatever.
So just to comment on this, if the league play is supposed to be 12 weeks like they recommend, then 2 cards a week would make sense.
Would it? No, because there's 3 different ones. So it'd be 6 cards a week. Right?
Didn't they get how many copies of each one did they get?
24 of each promo, and there's 3 promos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
6.
Brain fart.
If they were just
I was thinking there's 24 total.
Right. No, they should be able to give away 4 to 6 a week, and then save some for the monthly prizes and then the end of season prizes. So like 3 to 5 would make sense.
Yeah.
And then save a few for like big bonus prizes at the end. But yeah, the pins are definitely much rarer, because there's only 6 of each of the character pins and 8 of the logo pins. So yeah, that makes sense to save those for the monthly prizes.
I think we both want to know how your collection is coming along, Adara.
Yes. I see you posting pictures when you finish a page, and you have one of those binders that has 4 across and 3 down, so you can finish a set. And what are you collecting, and then how are you doing on it?
Yeah, so I do have one of the 12-page binders. The reason I went with that is because I think the binder holds about 512 cards or something like that. And I knew that would be enough to hold a full set of both the regular cards and the foil cards. So that's what I'm doing for the first set, at least. I am going to go for a full set. I want all 12 of those enchanteds at some point, but those are going to come much later down the line, hopefully after the price drops a little bit.
Just a little.
just a little. So I'm doing the regular and the foil cards. I organize them right next to each other. So the pages that I post on Twitter as I finish them it's 6 cards to a page, because there's enough slots there for the 6 doubled for the 12. And so it's coming along pretty good. I have seen one of every regular card. So we own one of every regular card in the set at this point. We have a lot of cards that we're running in constructed decks right now. Between my husband and I, we have, I think, like 2.5 constructed decks put together with the product that we've opened together. So I have donated some of the regular cards to go towards making the full playset, so we don't have to purchase additional cards there. So they're not necessarily they don't look like they're always full pages in my binder, but we have one of every regular card. I think I'm down to like 60 or so foils that I'm missing. So there's a couple of legendaries. I think I'm missing like somewhere between like 6 and 10 legendaries still. Have a couple of foils already of those. I bought a foil Gantu the other day because that was super cheap. I was like, I'll buy that before anything happens and makes it more expensive, because I really wanted that card. So I'm really happy with how it's coming. I have about the 60-ish foils left. I do have the Elsa enchanted card
Oh my
And
goodness.
so I only need the other 11, which hopefully will be the easier ones to obtain.
I was going to say, if you're
since-
going to pull one enchanted, Elsa's the one to pull because it is worth like what, 3 times more than any of the others, at least double of the Mickey, but 3 times all the others.
Yeah, it's
So-
going pretty high. I pulled it at Gen Con in my like 5th pack of Lorcana ever, and I sat down with my stubbornness and I was like, I am never selling this card no matter how much somebody is offering to me. It is stuck with me as a memory of the day and everything. And so I'm very thankful to have that one. That is the only one we have so far, but I will take having that one as the one enchanted we've pulled.
That's pretty awesome.
All right, should we talk some set two?
Should we?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
all we have? I mean, it's like, is that all we have to talk about? And it's like, yeah, I think that's more than enough because I mean, it felt like just a massive amount of news just all in one drop, right?
I think this is what
Yeah.
I've been missing in my Lorcana experience was reveal season.
Yeah, we haven't had anything since Gen Con morning, and it's just kind of been quiet. And it wasn't quite the silence of the dark times between D23 and when they actually started revealing additional stuff.
Right.
But
We only had a month of dark times this time, and we had a
But-
card game to keep us busy.
Exactly.
But we are humans. We are fickle
Yeah.
creatures.
So anyway, we have set 2 with the teased and leaked name was from what was it? A French retailer posted, and the translation was Rise of the Floodborn. And we found out early Tuesday morning, right? Was when it was.
Yeah, that they
Yes.
dropped at like 3 a.m. our
Yeah.
time.
And we found out that was the official name was it Rise of the Floodborn.
I love the French version. La Ascension des Floodborn. Or I probably butchered that, but I just love how L'Ascension rolls off the tongue.
Yes, it's the French ones do tend to have nicer sounding titles of some things, so that's pretty fun. We got, not only did we get the announcement of the name, we got 13 cards revealed, like full cards, not just teases, but the full card. We got all the product revealed, and so let's start with the product. And the first thing we're getting is, of course, a booster box. And Adara, who is on the booster box?
Oh man, I gotta pull it up here real fast because I've already forgotten. It's just so exciting.
And we have, just like the first set, there's characters on the booster box, and just like the first set, the majority of these characters are all by one artist, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, hopefully they're going to do another like kind of featured artist for their different chapters. So the booster box, and correct me if I'm wrong, has Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon, the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and then the Queen of Hearts, I believe, from Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, those are the 3 main characters. Those are who will be on the packs. And then on the front of the box, there's 2 additional characters that have cards that were revealed. And that's Merlin and Tiana.
Merlin's card looks so cool.
Yes. And then, Jared, why don't you tell us about the 2 new starter decks?
Yeah, so we are getting 2 starter decks this time. There's an Amethyst Steel deck featuring the aforementioned Merlin and Tiana. And then there's also a Sapphire Amber deck featuring the Queen and a Floodborn Gaston, who has a developed brain.
Yes. Developed brain, not develop your brain. He has already developed his brain. And then we have some accessories as usual.
Wait. What about the Trove? I
We
feel
do
like
have
need
the
to talk-
Trove, don't we? We have another Trove, and it features, of course, all the same characters. It's the box that has 8 packs and the booklet And basically it's all the same structure of product as the first chapter. It's just new characters, and obviously it's going to be 204 new cards.
Well, and there's a little sneak peek of a character on the side of the box too.
Yes, Drove. Who is that? Which one was it?
Shere Khan.
Shere Khan from Jungle Book. Yes. Which they did announce with the release that they basically gave us so much information that we had to just pull, like it felt like pulling information from all these different places, but they just like dropped all this information, and they announced that in addition to any other franchises that are already in the first chapter that they may be reusing, like of course the Beast, they are also adding, even though we already have the Queen, but they are adding Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Zootopia, The Great Mouse Detective, The Jungle Book, and of course, based on the one on the packs, Raya and the Last Dragon. So I think it's amazing that we're getting just this nice range of everything from the first Disney movie all the way up to a movie that just came out a few years ago.
Yep. Agreed.
Go ahead.
And continuing to get those deep cut movies too. Not a lot of people know about The Great Mouse Detective unless you're a little bit deeper into Disney and like looking through everything that they've done.
Or you're an 80s kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So really happy to see more of those movies. Though I really wanted Atlantis, but I'll keep waiting.
We may. I think we're gonna. It's fairly obvious at this point that they are not shying back from using any of the, I guess, lesser known properties that they just don't use that often in a lot of merchandising. They're not shying away from it at all.
Yeah.
Well, and keep in mind too, they kept Treasure Planet a secret until like the very end. Like nobody knew about that.
And there were multiple one card franchises in the first chapter. So they some of these I'm guessing will be full, and then some of the ones that were in the first chapter may go down to 1 or 2 cards, and we'll see how that works. But the final thing we have that's not actual cards is we have some accessories, and we have 2 new playmats, one featuring the Beast, who looks like he's a gargoyle, and Winnie the Pooh, who I think was one of the leak. This was like the leak where we got the characters. We're like, okay, it's Winnie the Pooh and this and that. But honestly, I think we can all agree that no one had in mind the amazing awesomeness that was going to be Winnie the Pooh, the Honey Wizard. This is amazing art, and I had that custom playmat made that I will gladly switch to the Honey Wizard and play with the Honey Wizard playmat going forward, because this is such an amazing piece of art. It's by John Lauren, who did the Robin Hood card in the first chapter, and it's Winnie the Pooh as a wizard sitting on top of a jar, or what is it? A
beehive.
A beehive, and he's a wizard. And if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it because it's amazing. So those are the 2 playmats, and then we're getting 2 deck boxes and sleeves again that are featuring the same characters, and it's Sisu, the dragon from Raya, and a new version of Mulan from Mulan.
I love those Mulan. Like, talking about art, I really like that art.
Yeah, it's all so amazing. It's all amazing.
She is illustrated amazing, but I think the red background just really makes it pop.
Yes. It's all so cool. And the Gargoyle Beast, I know that one. A lot of people actually, it's amazing to me that someone would think that it's better than the Honey Wizard. But
that was me.
Like, I'll play. Yeah, I'll play with that Beast one. No, it's an amazing piece of art too. I just can't stand how awesome and cool the Honey Wizard is. And then we have a final new, because there is no like regular old gift set with oversized cards like there was in the first chapter. No,
thank goodness.
Even special, even more special than that. And who wants to talk about this?
Oh man, I can do this one.
right.
It's the gift set that I actually want to buy this time. And it's the Magical Legacy Disney 100 Collector's Edition box. So it's the same box as the gift set. It looks like the exact same packaging, except it has that platinum updo that all of the official Disney 100 products have. And inside of it are 6 special edition. They're labeled as promos. So they're promo cards essentially that have been specifically designed by Disney animators, that they look really similar to Enchanted cards. They're the full art, looks like they kind of have a foil effect on them, and they're all stamped with a Disney 100 at the bottom of it. So there you get these 6 super amazing looking cards that come in the set. They're a mix of 4 redos of cards from the first chapter, and then 2 alternate arts of cards from the second, the Rise of the Floodborns. And then inside of the gift set, you get 4 additional booster packs of Rise of the Floodborn. So I think I want to hear what you guys think about it, but I think they hit it out of the ballpark with this one. Like, this was what I was wanting from a gift set, and they 100% have me sold on this.
I think the thing that makes it extra special is that all these cards are designed by actual Disney animators, like the Genie. And I'm sorry, I don't have the names pulled up right before me, but the Genie card was drawn by the person that did Genie on Aladdin. Mm-hmm. And so you'll see on these cards how they have the signature in the art box. And those are all signatures of people who are Disney animators. For me, that's one of the coolest things. Maybe I'm not the biggest fan of all the art, but I think that what they did was really special.
Yeah, I totally agree. Honestly, this is the most Disney thing they could have done to make a gift set for Lorcana, is get the history of Disney into a set for these new cards. And of course, with the stated intention of never doing something so exclusive that it is nearly impossible to find, they're just alternate arts of existing cards. So you don't have to get these to be able to play the game. But of course, everybody's going to want them, and everybody's going to want 4 of them to get play sets. I
don't know about everybody, James. I'll be fine with one of.
No, I will be fine with
take one. I will take one.
But I will say that's another thing that's cool about it, is that these aren't chase cards, because if you can get the set, you're going to have all 6.
And based on what we've seen, the gift set should be fairly available, because I think this is something that they will indeed stock in quite significant numbers at Disney, at the parks for one, and I would hope on Shop Disney as well, to where it's available for more than 3 seconds before it sells out. I'm reading the site, and it says that the finish on the cards is a satin holographic foil finish, which is different than the one that was used on Enchanted cards, because that's, I think, called an ink wash foil finish. And so
there's your Lorcana lexicon. Let's go over all
shiny.
The foil finishes.
It's shiny. That's what matters.
It's shiny, yes. And you hold it up to the light, and it shines back at you, and it looks awesome.
It sounds luxury with the satin finish.
Right? It does sound very luxury.
And I do want to give
cards, and you get 4 packs.
Yeah, yes, that's awesome.
So worth it.
So at the $30 price point that the gift set is, and the packs are $6 each, you're paying $1 a card for these 6 cards. And I think that's great for this. I mean, $1 a card. I would pay $1 a card for promos all day long.
I thought the reported MSRP was higher than 30 for this.
I thought it was 50. I thought it was $49.99.
50 is for the Trove, I thought.
I'll have to double check it. But before we move on, I did want to give a quick shout out to John T over at the Inkwell. If you don't know the history behind these artists on these cards, he put in the work and did a really nice video that released today, day of recording. And totally worth a watch if you don't know who these artists are and what their history is. He goes into them all, and it's a really cool thing to watch. Are we all trying to find the price now?
I am.
It is a really cool video to watch. I'm glad that John T put that together.
I'm trying to remember where we saw the pricing.
The
and
box
I
currently priced at $49.99 US dollars and $64.99 Canadian dollars. This is on a article on The Gamer from Joe Parlock.
There you go. I thought it was going to be 30 like the gift set, but oh well. You can just
Disney
cut all that
tax.
out later.
Disney tax.
Oh
Disney
no,
tax.
I'm gonna leave it in there so everybody can
I
see
know.
that you were wrong, James.
Yeah, I'm wrong all the time. That's the fun thing. All right. So is that all the product that we're getting?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time we talk about some cards.
Yes, cards. All right. So there's 3 of us and there's 6 inks. So we're each going to take 2 inks to talk about the cards in each one.
Nice.
So who wants Amber?
I could do Amber. Did you
I was
want
gonna
it, Jared?
say I will stake the claim for Sapphire and Steel because those are my colors I'm playing.
And then you pick your 2 colors, Adara, and I will take what's left.
All right. I will do Amber and Ruby then.
All right. So go ahead, do Amber.
All right. So Amber, we have, according to this, 3 cards that have been revealed for that. So we have Mickey Mouse Friendly Face, which kind of looks like the upgraded version of the Mickey Mouse True Friend. He's a 6-drop 1/6 with 3 lore. And his ability is that whenever this character quests, you pay 3 ink less for the next character you play this turn. So super strong ability, it seems like there. Really liked that one. Then we also have the Queen from Snow White, Commanding Presence. So she is a 5-drop 4/3 card with 2 lore. She is a Floodborn, so she has the shift. And then her ability is whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character gets -4 attack this turn, and chosen character gets +4 attack this turn. So it like takes the strength from one character and puts it to another character.
So let's put it in terms that Jared will like. This means that it's possible that you can use less flounders to take out 8-drop Maui than previously.
I like the way you think.
You could do it with 2 flounders.
2 flounders.
2 flounders.
And
equals.
also, this is, if I'm reading this correctly, this is the first character that shifts for more than 2 less. She shifts for 3 less because she goes from 5 and you can pay 2. So she's the first one that's 3 cheaper because all the other shifts have been 2 cheaper.
Which means we're gonna have to get a 1-drop Queen.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe we get a 2-drop because it's the less already.
No, we're getting a 1-drop Queen.
We'll get a 1-drop Queen.
I'll bet you a pack of Lorcana.
I've seen those go south. I'm not betting any.
Right.
But
Well,
the last Amber card is one of my favorites, and it's a new song, Zero to Hero. So for 2 costs, it is uninkable, but you get to count the number of characters you have in play, and then you pay that amount of ink less for the next character that you play in the turn. So it seems like it could be something really nice to be able to, almost like the lantern, you get to pay less for the next character. I love that it's a 2-drop. I'm super excited about the Hercules song.
And it's in Amber, so you can Rockstar stitch out a bunch of 1 and 2 cost characters and all of a sudden have 6 or 7 of them in play because you've been drawing so much. And one of those cards you drew, oh, look, it's Carefree Surfer Stitch. And oh my goodness, he's free.
Yeah.
I mean, in addition to lanterns, you have Just in Time, Zero to Hero, and this new Mickey Mouse. It really feels like Amber's leaning into this, cheating higher cost characters out for lower cost. And
Yeah.
I think, like, I'm really curious to see how it develops. That's one of the reasons why like blue is for the ramp package, but this is basically like pseudo ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like ramp, but without like gaining the ink in front of you, you're lessening the cost that you're paying.
All right. And next we have Amethyst. And we got 4 Amethyst cards. We have another Elsa, Gloves Off. It's a 4-drop, 3/4 with 1 lore. And she has Challenger 3. So when challenging, she has +3 strength. And this one's just a solid card. It's a nice attacking card and also another shift target for the 8-drop Elsa. So always nice to see. Like we needed more Elsas, right?
I was just
I'll
going to
take a
ask you
common
guys if you
Elsa.
were surprised that we were getting another Elsa.
No, not really. I think there's going to be some of these top tier characters in almost every set. Even if we only get one of them, I think you're going to get certain characters in a lot of sets. I mean, we're going to get at least 3 to 6 Mickeys in every set.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think we'll get more than 3 Elsas though in this next set. So since we got, I think, what was it, like 3, 4? I think we got 4 of them in the first chapter. Yeah. I don't think we're going to get more than 3 in this second one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the only one, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have Merlin, Shapeshifter, and he's a 4-drop, 1/5. And he has the ability Battle of Wits. Whenever one of your other characters is returned to your hand from play, this character gets +1 lore value this turn. So that is something you can use both defensively and offensively, it sounds like. So if there's ways to get characters back into your hand, like Genie.
Dr. Facilier.
Well, see, the Dr. Facilier doesn't work. That was clarified on Twitter, I think today, from Steve Warner. So Dr. Facilier's ability, hit the 7-drop Dr. Facilier, Agent Provocateur or whatever it's. That one, it's when banished. And according to the mechanics of what's happening in the game, the character is banished and goes into the discard pile. Then the ability activates and the character is pulled from the discard pile into your hand and therefore is not in play. So that ability doesn't count for this ability. So it's only bouncing from play, so like Genie.
And I won't be surprised if we get more cards that return cards to your hand in set 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Befuddle and Genie are to the 2 main ones, I think, right now, right?
Yeah.
And
Cruella
Knows Best.
And Mother Knows Best and Cruella.
Yeah, Cruella.
Right. Unless it says when banished.
Yep.
And anything that says when banished, it doesn't count.
Yeah, or if it banishes the character first, that when the from play is the super important part from Merlin's, it sounds like.
And then next up we have, as we were mentioning, the Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard. He's a 5-drop, 5/5 with 2 lore, and he's a vanilla. And I've seen so many people complaining that he's a vanilla. They're like, this amazing art needs to be on an amazing ability as well. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of want to sit and stare at the art. So why put any other words on there when you're just going to ignore what the ability is? So you might as well just not put an ability on there, right?
What I put on Twitter. I put on Twitter right before we recorded. I said, can't we? I said, I've seen a lot of people complaining about Winnie the Pooh. Instead of complaining about Winnie the Pooh not having an ability, can't we just appreciate the fact that this card has incredible art? And then I said, wait, is this me engaging in toxic positivity? But I mean, for reals, like Adara said already, we're fickle creatures. We are always going to find something to complain about. And this is incredible art. And yeah, I guess it sucks that there's no ability, but holy cow, this is going to be a great card. I mean, even though it's vanilla, it's still a great card. I mean, it's 5 cost, 5/5. It's just a bruiser like Kronk, you know?
Yeah.
I think that this is going to see some play.
I think so. I mean, so I'm going to complain that they misspelled honey.
I think that was on purpose. Isn't that how he spells honey on his honey
pots? It totally
is,
yes.
Okay.
It totally is.
It is the Winnie the Pooh way of honey. Yeah. It is his way.
James was just being a fickle human, finding something to complain about. Okay, I'm a little slow sometimes.
No, it's all right. Okay, The final amethyst is a 3-drop uninkable item called the Sorcerer's Spellbook, and its ability is knowledge. You exert it, pay 1 ink, and gain 1 lore.
Pretty awesome.
This is the first way you can earn lore that doesn't involve using a character.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Just drop down 4 of these and just control your opponent's characters and win the game. Right? That's all you got to do.
Yeah. It's all you
giving
have
me
to
that
do.
look like, all right, buddy. It's all you got to do. All in quotes.
No is the control the board, because I am still suffering from my league play last night where I ran up against amethyst ruby deck that just
PTSD from that deck, right?
So anyway, I won't get into that. I was not proud of who I was as a human afterwards because I felt rage, and then I was like, I felt bad. I felt like I was being selfish, taking away, like trying to make him feel guilty for beating me, and that shouldn't be the case. Anyway, That's neither here or there.
All right. That's it for the amethyst. And next up we have emerald, and just an amazing card.
Oh, yeah.
Just 1. And that's all you need is 1, right? It is a 5-drop uninkable Bell, hidden archer. And she's a 3/3 with 3 lore. She's shift 3, so you can pay 3 ink to put her on top of another Bell. And her ability is Thorny Arrows. Whenever this character is challenged, the challenging character's player discards all cards in their hand. It is evil and rude,
bonkers,
and awesome.
Talking about control.
And
yeah.
And you hear everyone going like, well, she'll die to smash or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but your opponent has to have a smash for her to get banished to smash. So, and it's like, well, I can just attack her when I don't have any cards in my hand. It's like, well, she's out on turn 3. You're probably going to have some cards in your hand, and she's going to be earning 3 lore until you feel like taking her on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's very dangerous, I think.
Agreed. This card is bonkers.
And it's definitely continuing the whole saga of we're not getting a whole lot of green cards for reveal season.
Right?
So
what do they have?
The sneaky flavor of that.
What do they have against Emerald? It's like they don't want to reveal Emerald cards.
I think we saw from the first chapter, and I think we're going to continue to see this into this. I'm going to keep calling it the second chapter, even though it's Rise of the Floodborns. But Emerald just has these really cool, strong abilities that they don't always seem to synergize with each other, but they're just kind of a little bit of everywhere. So I think if you ever want like a good overview of like different types of abilities that are present, I feel like Emerald is a great place to start looking for that. And so I think because of that, Emerald tends to have those really cool cards that maybe are a little bit too powerful for us to have straight off the bat. I mean, looking at Belle, if she's anything to say for it, I think we're in for an interesting ride with Emerald for the Rise of the Floodborns. But that takes us into yeah, go ahead, James.
No, I was like, indeed, yeah, it's Emerald's so much fun.
Yes. And I think it's a big surprise that there's not a starter deck that includes Emerald for the Rise of the Floodborns. So that'll be interesting to see. But speaking of inks that do not have a lot of cards revealed quickly in the first chapter, next up is Ruby. We did get 2 Ruby cards. So we have the Raya card from the art on the booster packs, Raya, Warrior of Kumandra. She's a 4-drop 5/3 with 1 lore, just a vanilla card. Really solid for a 4-drop though, with that 5 strength and the 3 willpower. I mean, she seems pretty solid there. She's inkable. I think just a very nice average card for Raya there. And then we have an item in Ruby, which is the Dinner Bell. So it's a 4 cost, and what happens is you exert it and you pay 2 ink, and you draw cards equal to the damage on a chosen character of yours, and then you banish the card. Then you banish them. You banish the character. So really interesting item there. Do either of you know what this was technically from? I wasn't
Great
sure.
Mouse Detective.
Yeah, this is a Great Mouse Detective. Yep.
Oh, because he rings the bell and like the cat comes. I got it. Thank you. I would not have remembered that. It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
No, I like this card. I mean, who knows how much play we'll see, but if you think about ramming, like having 8 damage on King Triton or 7 on Maui or Stitch Carefree Surfer, play this card. Well, I mean, you have it in play, pay 2, and you get to draw that many cards. That's kind of bonkers. And I'm sure somebody will figure out how to make this card work.
It's basically a persistent and just slightly, I mean, not slightly because you would banish a character, but more costly version of Rapunzel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think most often you're going to be using this when a character has somewhere between 2 and 4 damage. So you're going to be getting 2 to 4 draws, and you're going to have to banish the character, but you have all those cards you got back into your hand. So if you didn't have any cards, if you're down to 1 or 2, it's going to be like refreshing a bit and being able to just keep that card advantage going. And if your character was about ready to die anyway, then, you might as well get some advantage out of them being banished, right?
Well, and the difference is that this item stays on the board because you don't banish the bell, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, the item stays on.
And like what you could technically do is like if you had Triton on board, you could still quest with him, right? And then use this and banish him. Yeah. That's pretty bonkers.
Or sing a song, or a variety of things you can do. You can attack someone, get a little bit more damage on them.
Yeah, and you can sneak these out as well. That's something that's really unique about items, is since you can use them the turn that they're played, you can pull this out of nowhere just like you can a Rapunzel from your hand. So it'll be interesting to see what people come up with in order to get this to have some play.
All right, shall we move on to Sapphire?
Yes.
So this ink only has 1 card revealed as well. It is Gaston. We kind of talked about him in the product part. He's 6 cost, uninkable, 4 strength, 4 willpower. His sub name is Intellectual Powerhouse. He is also a shift character, shifts for 4, 3 lore, which is amazing. His ability, as we said already, is Developed Brain. When you play this character, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put 1 into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's kind of like a beefed up version of developing your brain. But that 3 lore, I don't know, shifting on for 4 seems like it could see play. But the thing I love most about this is in the card itself, there's a chalkboard where he's outlining his plan to rescue Belle and save her from the beast and marry her.
Beautiful art.
Yep. It's awesome. I love it. The intellectual powerhouse. It's like, as soon as you see that, you're like, you look closer, like, oh yeah, that's a Floodborn.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Matthew Robert Davies did the Gaston. So he did the Elsa's in the first chapter. So
he did like 5 of these 13 that have been revealed.
Yeah, he's the one who has almost all of the art on the products.
That's cool.
So Gaston and the Queen and a few others that he did are the art on the packaging. And he is, like Nicholas Cole was for the first chapter, he is the face artist of Rise of the Floodborn.
Very cool.
All right, so let's talk about Steel. There are 2 cards, but these are both just incredible cards. I said that I play Sapphire Steel, and I could see myself adding both of these in here. So the first one is Cinderella, Stout-Hearted. Another one that you look at and you're like, that's a Floodborn because she is in knight's armor. She's holding the sword. She's 7 cost, so that kind of hurts. She's 5 strength, 5 willpower, but she can shift for 5. She has 3 lore, but she also introduces a new keyword called resist. And she has resist +2, which means when a goons, which is strength 2, attacks Cinderella, it deals 0 damage. And her ability is this ability is, I mean, next to Belle, this ability is bonkers. It's called the Singing Sword. Whenever you play a song, this character may challenge ready characters this turn. So you have an Aladdin that you think is safe. You use a shield to ready up your, I don't know, whatever. Moana, Cinderella can swing into those characters, and I think that's pretty incredible.
It's awesome. And you did mention her keywords because she has the knight keyword.
Yep,
she is brand new, which is pretty cool. And if you look closely at her art, she has on her sword hilt is her pumpkin carriage image, and I think she has it somewhere else as well.
In the cape.
Yeah, in the cape, there's the pumpkin as well. So this is pretty awesome. This is an amazing card, I think.
And she's inkable. Like, there's nothing about this card that has red flags. Like, it's just a good card.
It's like she may end up being this set's big tink, right? Something
she very well could be.
I mean, yeah. So she's aiming for that.
So when it says damage dealt to this character is reduced by 2, does that include from things like grab your swords and giant tink
or anything that's damage is reduced by 2?
It doesn't say specifically when in a challenge, awesome. So I would assume, yeah, all damage.
That's pretty awesome.
So basically the only way to get rid of her is to attack her with someone that deals 7 damage or direct removal like Dragonfire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's going to be a tank.
Yeah.
Which leads into our next. This is not as much of a tank, but she's still going to be tanky. Tiana, Celebrating Princess. She's 4 cost, uninkable. She has 1 strength and 4 willpower, but she also has that resist +2. And then she has this other amazing ability. And again, going back to this Ruby Amethyst deck where I just got Be Prepared 4 times in one game and Dragon Fired a couple more times, I'm going to love this ability. The ability that you give is what you get. While this character is exerted and you have no cards in your hand, opponent can't play actions. So no more Dragonfire, no more Be Prepared. It's assuming that your hand is empty.
Gives you incentive to empty that hand out at the end of your turn for sure.
Really does. But I also really like running a whole new world. So that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you're going to have to empty your hand and then hope you draw into a whole new world to refill it at some point, or have one of your, there may be some ways to refill your, or to draw a little bit extra with the cards in play at a certain point. Maybe there's some new cards for draw, because we do need draw. I mean, we always need draw. So maybe there'll be some new draw cards that help you fill your hand after it's empty. I mean, Beast Mirror is in is in Steel, so you can use that.
That's the logical choice right there.
Yeah, of the existing cards.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny that the day this was revealed later in the day, Team Lorcana had to clarify that Tiana is not holding a Keyblade. This is not a secret Kingdom Hearts reference.
Yeah, I saw people saying that.
And I'm like, Kingdom Hearts people are going hard for trying to get Kingdom Hearts into Lorcana. And, you know, you got to respect the push, but wait until they announce it, because it's not coming until they announce it. If they ever announce it.
There is the nice nod to the stars and the fireflies at the end of The Princess and the Frog, though, with the 2 stars over her shoulder in the card. Those are the 2 stars that are at the end of the movie there. So I did like that little nod there.
I didn't even notice that.
I didn't either. And so I think you, Jared, you found at least one hidden Mickey in some of these cards, right?
So in the it's in Amethyst, it's the spell book.
Mhm.
If you go to the left of the spell book, kind of in the middle, there's a hidden Mickey there. And
It's like in
then
the wave.
yeah, I'm kind of hallucinating this one. But if you look at the bell, if you look at her quiver of arrows, there are three that kind of look like a hidden Mickey, but then there's a fourth that kind of would give that hidden Mickey a extra long face. But I am hallucinating it there, and I'm calling it.
And the fun thing, her ability is called Thorny Arrows, and her arrows are actually roses, which I thought was awesome. I mean, it's just the art is amazing. I just love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's a legendary too. It's another Bell legendary card. And we have also
Yep.
of the 13 revealed, I think I counted, was it 4 super rares?
Yeah.
And then a few rares and some commons and uncommons. So, but this is the only legendary that was revealed. And man, we're gonna have to chase down another Bell legendary, man.
So I think in addition to set 2 news here, James, you shared with me a video on Instagram that the artist, is it Matthew John Davies? Is that the name?
Matthew Robert Davies.
Matthew
Okay.
Robert.
Okay, thank you. He actually shared it and he was showing off all the packaging on it. And one of them, I think it was the back of one of the card sleeves. It did show a 1-cost Flynn Rider that looks like it's vanilla in emerald.
Yeah. And that's the only other card that we could tell that's on the packaging, I think, was that Flynn.
But
But
there were a couple of other tidbits. Did you catch those?
I did not.
If you read the text, did you catch these, Adara?
I did not look super closely at it. I try to limit my intake of non-Ravensburger
fair.
spoilers.
So if you do you want me to tell you this?
Go for it. Go
Okay.
for it.
So if you read the text on the back of one of the products, it mentions that there's going to be a Madam Mim fox form.
Oh, I did
There's
hear
going to
about
be
this.
a Kronk Squirrel Scout, I think. And there's a Officer Hops as well.
Nice. Well, we
Yeah.
could expect there to be hops because they mentioned Zootopia, but Madam Mim, they did not. Okay, so that was she's from Sword in the Stone, right? Okay, awesome. All right.
So Erin from the Illuminateers is going to be super excited because she's been asking for Madam M from the beginning.
Yes.
Can't wait. So now we have, it's now set 2 was revealed to be coming out at early at the local game stores on November 17th. That was revealed like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
or something
a long time
like that,
ago.
that it was announced.
Mhm.
And big box on December 1st. So it's good. They have the 2-week window again. Now the only change is that Disney 100 gift set is coming out December 1st everywhere. There is no early release for the gift set. So don't go looking for that on November 17th because it won't be out. It will only be coming out on December 1st. And everything else is I think the same path. And that means as of this recording, we have 2 months and 2 days until the release of Rise of the Floodborn. That's 8 weeks.
So crazy.
And we have 13 cards revealed, which means we have 191 cards left to reveal. So let's start the countdown again.
Meme a day.
Yeah, what do you think we're going to get? I mean, so for chapter 1, we got all but, what was it, about 40-ish, 48, something like that, cards revealed before the final drop of everything when the app was released and all of that.
Yeah,
It was around that, right?
I think so.
Do you think we're going to do about the same? We're going to have like a bunch of surprise cards when they all get loaded into the app like a week before or something like that? What do you think?
I mean, the difference this time, I think, is that now that the app's released and active, there are going to be people combing through the code. So if they upload anything there it's going to be like leaked right away.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. I mean, barring any kind of leak like that, then yeah, I think that they would handle it the same.
I did see them say that they were hoping to get all of the cards loaded into the app as they were revealed, but that didn't happen for one reason or another. So maybe it's because they want to figure out a way to keep that data from leaking. So they have to put in placeholder text, and maybe the files they had didn't have placeholder text and it would have all gotten spoiled. So who knows why, but they just didn't reveal. They didn't put the stuff into the app yet, but I'm thinking that it will at some point start showing up in the app. I think, I mean, with only 8 weeks, I'd like to see, I don't know, drops like this where we get 10 cards at least a week, right? Something like that.
That's crazy to think about.
To be on pace, they have to release just over 20 cards a week if they want to release all of them before that.
So I mean, 10 to 15 cards a week is still not revealing everything.
That just blows my mind.
Yeah. And it's going to be like this, like every set, where a few weeks into the release of the set, you're going to start getting the stuff for the next set coming out. So it's perpetual playing with cards that you have now and seeing what's coming next. And, you know,
can we go back to waiting a year between? I mean, before the release? I'm just teasing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if I could wait a year between release again. Although I do think that for me, it's going to be, I'm going to get very excited about these cards and then forget about them. Because if you start doing things like printing out proxies or whatever it may be to test things out before the whole set is out and you start hunting it down, you're going to be like, I want to build this deck. And then if you're going to be able to go and there's going to be issues getting product, which we think there will be because, you know, I don't think the print run was increased that much from the first set. I think we're still going to have issues for set 2. You're going to be having trouble building those decks if you wanted to, like, okay, you know, we tested it all out for the 2 months while the reveals were happening, and this is we thinking is going to be a good deck, and then you go and buy cards and you don't get all of those cards, you can't play it. It's going to be disappointing. So I'm kind of like, I kind of just want to forget about all those new cards until I can actually get them. But of course, I'm going to be so hyped seeing all the new cards as they come out. So it's going to be that whole give and take of new stuff.
Well, is there any news we need to talk about?
I think that was the news.
Yeah, I think so too.
Set 2 is the news.
Set 2 is the news. The resources page has kind of been changed a little bit, where things have come and gone on the resource page, but I'm expecting that we're going to have the full rules at some point soon-ish, I would hope. So
I would think so.
Hopefully that's coming.
All right. I do have a Lorcana Lexicon.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
Have we talked about the word sideboard before?
I don't know if we have.
Okay.
This is very a very discussion heavy thing.
It's very divisive. Yeah,
it is.
Adara, do you know what a sideboard is? I mean, I'm sure you do.
I can attempt to explain it. I'm still trying to learn about it myself, but my best understanding is a sideboard is a selection of cards that you use to then like switch out in your deck in between games when you're doing a round with somebody. So like when you're doing a best of 3 match, you would play your first match, or you'd play your first game against the person, and then in between your first game and your second game, you would get to switch out some of your cards for the cards in your sideboard. And that's like really helpful against when you're playing against certain decks that maybe there's a card that's really good against Amber Steel that otherwise it's not particularly handy to have in your deck. So you could have that in your sideboard and would instead then, if you're going against an Amber Steel, you could switch that in for your remaining games, is I think like kind of how a sideboard works.
That's exactly
how I understand that it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your opinions on sideboards?
My opinion on a sideboard is, at least at this point in the game in my TCG journey, I feel like it adds more complexity than I want to the game. I really like that in general, we haven't been doing sideboards when we've been playing games. And casual play, it's pretty much you just go for it. And I really appreciate the simplicity of that, of your deck is your deck. And no matter what you're going against, you're running the deck that you chose to run at the beginning of that. I have talked with a couple of people who really want to see a sideboard, and a lot of the terms that they use when they're talking about that is that they want to see a sideboard to add complexity to the game. So I'm not against sideboards, but I think like give it a set or two. Like let's figure out how these cards work. Let's let these people who are brand new to TCGs figure out what does even building a deck look like before we start talking about how do we put together a sideboard to have. So I'm not against them, but I probably would not be using one anytime soon personally, just because I'm still newish and I just don't want the added complexity at this exact moment.
One thing I was going to add to your definition is typically, like when I played My Hero, the sideboard consisted of 10 cards. So, like you said, if I was playing against somebody that had a deck that was very controlling, I could have a sideboard that would help counter that. And yeah, it adds complexity, but it also increases your ability. Like, I don't think it's going to be as complex as you think, because if you played a Ruby Amethyst deck and you know that they're going to be prepared and Dragonfire, then you could have a side deck with like Aurora in it to help provide ward for your characters, or you could have that new Tiana in there. So I mean, I think you'd have the sideboard and you'd be like, okay, this matchup requires this, and then just switch the cards in and out.
So as someone who is new, of course, and hasn't played TCGs and wanted complexity in them to start, it does feel like it's a little much. Also, it just feels to me like it's kind of cheating. Like, I didn't build a good enough deck, so I'm going to bring these extra 10 or 15 cards just in case I can't beat you with what I built. So I want to add these other cards or switch out these other cards once I figure out what you have, so I can play better than I did the first game.
So are you telling me when there's like a basketball game going on and one of the players isn't performing well and the coach pulls them out and puts in a player from the bench, that's like cheating?
No, because that bench is your deck, and that guy in the stands who absolutely knows how to play basketball would be a sideboard, and he isn't part of the team. Your deck is the team.
All right. We're just gonna have to
You're not
agree to
pulling
disagree
anyone
here.
like, yeah. I understand what it is, and I understand the point of it, and I understand that it does add complexity, and it helps to, because once a game gets so much wider with so many more cards, you do need a lot of avenues to fight against those different styles of play and different decks. But at the beginning, no, there's just not that many avenues in Lorcana, so you don't really need it. Right?
I could go either way. Like, I don't care one way or the other.
I don't know. I just, ever since I heard about it, I'm like, it just feels a little bit like you're saying, I'm not building a good enough deck, so I need to make sure I have this little side thing to make sure that I can, cheat in this little thing after the first game to make it fit.
James, I mean, come on. If you have a deck that gets steamrolled by a certain matchup, but it's good against all the other ones, how is that cheating to be like, okay, I'm going to go from an auto loss to giving myself a fighting chance?
Because that's the 60 cards you brought.
So I think what I'm hearing from this is that having a sideboard tends to encourage maybe building a deck with more specialties in mind. So if you have a sideboard, it creates more of the freedom to, hey, it's okay if I really lean my deck heavy into this certain aspect. And then when you go against that matchup, that aspect just fails at, then you have the cards that you're able to swap in and try to beat it out. So like maybe like a good example right now is like Amber Steel that I've heard a lot of people talking about, of like, at least the deck that I'm kind of playing is, it doesn't particularly do well against that amethyst ruby control deck. But if I had the ability to do a sideboard, for example, I might switch out to have more lower cost, high lore characters to beat out the rush at the beginning of the game, which is like your only chance against Amethyst Ruby. So
Bingo.
I think it adds the depth, though I definitely hear where you're coming from, James, of how it kind of feels like, well, shouldn't you just build that into your deck to begin with? So I think I see both perspectives there. I think it'll be really interesting to see what ends up coming from Ravensburger officially, especially considering that both Ryan and Steve have backgrounds in other TCGs.
And I'm going to say that as we go forward with different and new sets, I'm guessing that there's probably a pretty good chance that sideboards do get added at some point. And at that point, I'll be in. I'll make sideboards. I'm not saying that I'll never use one. I'm just saying that the way I see it when I first heard about it, it just felt like it was something that you're using as like a little bit of a cheat but I understand why and how it's used. It's just that was the initial impression when I first heard about it. And so going forward, I'm sure in a year and I'm playing against, and there's like 5 different kinds of decks that I have to figure out how to build a deck against. I'm going to want that extra 10 or 15 cards to be able to do that little bit of a fix after the first game to try and have a little bit better of a chance to go against that deck. But right now, I just don't think it's really needed.
Shall we move on to Disney Jeopardy?
Yes.
Okay, and Adara has volunteered to be our victim here.
Yeah.
I guess
let's do this again.
if you need a lifeline, you can ask James. For 100, this is the name of the teacup in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, who is Chip?
Ding, 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 ding. Okay, this is the type of animal Timon is in The Lion King.
What is a meerkat?
There you go. For 300, this is the dwarf that doesn't speak in Snow White.
Oh. Who is Dopey?
Ding, ding, ding. Okay. So, pretty easy one so far. For 400, this is the name of the mother cat in Aristocats.
Oh. Because the girl, the daughter is Marie.
That's correct.
But that's not what the mom is. Who is Duchess?
There you go. I love those light bulb moments.
I had to think about the cats. I just had to visualize them. I was like, oh, it's Duchess.
All right, I saved a ringer for 500 here. Again, staying on the topics of names, staying on the theme of names. This is the name of the leader of the wolf pack in the Jungle Book.
Oh man, all I can think of is Rafiki, and I know that that's not right. So.
Dear Khan inspired me to find this question.
Oh, I can imagine. Do you have thoughts, James?
This. No, I don't even remember this at all.
I sometimes forget that Mowgli was raised by wolves too.
Yeah, no, I knew that's who it was.
It's my favorite part of like the movie before you get into like the actual movie. Like I love how that's the opening, and like I can like visualize what he looks like in his like sorrowful face when he has to like turn Mowgli. No, I have no idea. There's no way I'm gonna pull this one out.
Okay, I'm probably butchering this name, and I put it on like a name pronunciation thing. Akela.
Okay.
Akela. So if I said it wrong, I'm sure somebody will let me know. But 4 for 5, that's pretty good.
No, didn't have a clue.
That was a good 500 question.
Yes. Okay, well, this was lots of fun. Adara, thanks for coming on and joining us. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Ochem102. It's the screen name's Adara, though. I changed that. And then on Discord, I'm Adara of Lorcana.
If you liked what you heard, you can subscribe to us on Twitter. I mean, if you liked what you heard, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on the podcasting platform of your choice. You can find me on Twitter at Citizens of Lorcana. And James, where can they find you?
You can find me everywhere online at Dan Regal, and you can check out geekshotphoto.com for links and photos and things from my wife and I. And also shout out to the 2 or so people I talked to about this podcast at some of our events over the last week. Hopefully you're listening. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.